Around a year or maybe even a year and a half ago at this point, I did showcase a clan boss team that could one key any difficulty of the game, which is pretty fantastic. This is Demon Lord clan boss, of course. However, that particular clan boss team was not auto friendly, so you couldn't use the quick battles. I'm going to go ahead and show you essentially the same team here today with a few tweaks that do make it auto friendly. These are going to be the champions that you need right here. There is not really any substitutions for the team. However, the only legendary in this group is going to be Fushan. And Fushan, you don't even necessarily need him. It's just we're using his aura for ally speed in all battles by 24%. So previously I was using a Deacon Armstrong with his 19%. If you're going to use a different speed lead aura, just make sure that you are taking that into consideration when you're doing your speed calculations. You'll probably want to go ahead and throw it into the Deadwood Jedi calculator just to make sure that everything is going to work. But the 5 champions are Fushan, Thane, Demitha, Seeker, and Eris. So this is going to be a version of the Myth Air team that was made popular after Demitha's release. I'm going to go ahead and take you through the champions as well as their stats here. This is going to be the build on Fushan, 185 speed. The speeds are very particular about this comp as well, so just make sure that you're hitting those speeds. 5,000 attack, 229 on the crit damage, and 277 on the accuracy. We do want a little bit of accuracy on him because he does actually place a decreased defense as well. I do believe I've turned off his A2 inside the clan boss, so we just have the decreased defense, and then his A1, which is notorious because it has a 25% chance of placing an extra hit, and from what I know, this can actually stack, so you can get multiple extra hits back to back, which can make this guy absolutely insane. Don't quote me on that though, I think that's just the rumor going around town at the moment. In terms of his gear, this is what he's got, nothing too crazy. The gear is not ascended. Not everything is going to be glyphed either, so there is definitely some room for improvement here. I'm more so, with this particular team, you could definitely optimize it, but I don't want the best of the best gear to be placed on these champions, because once you hit a certain threshold on the clan boss, you don't really need to push it further. So once you're one-keying the clan boss, the extra damage is not really useful, unless you're the one, of course, carrying the clan boss for your team, and if you're the one who's tasked with getting it down. Next up, we have Thane. She is empowered +1. You absolutely don't have to have her empowered, but she is built. She is at 7,200 on the attack and 302% crit damage, and that is along with still 290 accuracy as well. I will show you any sort of Demon Lord battle bonuses that I have in here, so nothing, no speed. I have a little bit of crit damage and a little bit of ignore defense. This team is only going to get stronger if you do have more ignore defense on it, of course. That being said, though, if you have Savage with the decreased defense and the weaken, we're getting pretty damn close to doing true damage anyways. 167 on the speed. She is a very slow champion. It should be easy to build her. This particular champion could be substituted. You don't need a feign. The reason for that is you already have the decreased defense coming in from Fushan. She does also bring, of course, a weaken. She brings a decreased attack and poisons. You're not worried about the decreased attack because you are unkillable, of course. But if you need a different poisoner or something like that, you could even slot in a Kale into this spot, and I'm sure he would do it perfectly fine as well. We have the lady herself, Demitha, the champion that makes this all possible, in all honesty, in a triple speed set with 290 speed. She doesn't have much for damage stats because I did have to push my gear quite a bit to actually get her into this. She still does have 80k HP and 3,000 defense though, so she's got a little bit of survivability. She's not placing any debuffs or anything like that, so we don't have her with accuracy, and of course she doesn't really need resistance for clan boss. Next up, we have Seeker. Seeker is going to be built out with 184 speed, 4,000 on the attack, 245 crit damage, and of course he does not need accuracy for clan boss because he is not placing any relevant debuffs. And the last champion is going to be Eris, who I don't even have fully mastered out. Eris is going to be rocking 4,000 attack, 261 speed, and 224 on the crit damage. Once again, no accuracy on her. She brings no debuffs to the battle. If you were going to have her built out a little bit more, I would actually recommend having her into counterattack masteries if at all possible. I did go with Steadfast to try and stop the clan boss from attacking her in particular on the Spirit Affinity. This particular team is 100% affinity friendly, full auto from the start on all affinities, which is pretty cool. In terms of masteries, this is Fushan. He comes down here to War Master. I am going to throw the run up on screen probably right about now, so you can go ahead and take a look at that as well. This is going to be Fane's Mastery. She does come down to War Master as well. It's kind of questionable if you want her on War Master or if you want her on Giant Slayer. I am going with War Master, though. I found in my personal testing, at least, that it did result in a little bit more damage, so I can definitely justify it, that's for sure. We have Demitha built out in War Master as well. Basically, every champion on the team is going to be built out in War Master because you do want them pumping out as much damage as possible, and there's not really another tier 6 mastery that's going to benefit them quite as much. Seeker, once again, of course, built out in War Master. If you don't have a lethal set, or if you don't want to run him in a lethal set, another very good way to run him is going to be in a toxic set. There's not really any mandatory debuffs that we're getting on the boss apart from decreased defense and the weaken, but if you have the right champions, those are going to stay up consistently anyway, so filling up the debuff bar with some extra poisons would be alright. If you ran him in a poison set, I would say maybe bring a poison detonation person instead of Fane. I might actually slot somebody in there and see what we can get figured out. We have Eris. Eris is, like I say, not fully mastered out, so these are going to be her masteries here. If at all possible, and if you can ensure that the stun target is not her, I would recommend just going ahead and switching her into counterattack masteries. What is nice about her, though, is she does have a passive where she counterattacks the attacker when an ally is attacked anyways, so she can get some very, very good damage that way. She's a very nice champion for that purpose. And I'm going to go ahead and lastly show you guys the AI presets here. So if we come into the clan boss and take a look at the team setup, this is what it's going to be here. So first of all, for Fushan, we have his A2 turned off, like I mentioned. You only need to worry about the AI setup for the first round because clan boss is, of course, only one round. Demitha, she has a priority on her A3, the block damage and continuous heal, because if she doesn't, she's basically just not going to place it until she thinks you need it, at which point you'll probably be dead. And then a priority 2 on her A2, which increases the ally buffs and all that sort of good stuff. Eris has a priority 1 on her A2, again, because you always want it placed, even if she doesn't think you need it. This removes 1 random debuff from all allies as well. And then it has a 100% chance of placing the big version of increased speed. So essentially this is going to cleanse off things like stuns, decrease accuracies, decrease attacks, and of course the decreased speeds as well. It's set up so that Eris is going to be going first in each rotation. Fane has a priority on the A3, which is the decreased defense and the weaken. And then, of course, she does have a priority 2 on the A2, which is the poison. And lastly, to make it auto-friendly, this is how we have Seeker set up. So he basically just opens with his A1. You can probably do a priority here as well, but he is very good about using it on his own. So I would say you don't really need to worry too much about the AI. Now, you might get into some trouble on something like easy or normal using this particular team because you're just going to be doing so much, damage and outcycling the boss that quickly. However, I can say with certainty that it is a full auto 1-key team for Ultra Nightmare, Nightmare, Brutal, and Hard. As you can see here, I'm farming it. I still have a normal chest to claim as well from when I had hit it. This particular team, though, is going to be very easily able to 1-key something like easy and normal as well, even if the speed tune is messed up, just because you're bringing that much damage, which is pretty awesome. That being said, though, let me know down in the comments if you guys use a speed tune similar to this, or let me know if you're switching over to the Wixwell as well. I might be doing that at some point myself. Wixwell seems like he's going to be very useful, especially somewhere like Hydra, for example. And I did manage to pick up the 3-star blessing for him as well, so I could probably run him in something fairly interesting there. And I definitely doubt that they're going to be nerfing this guy, even though some content creators are seemingly calling for it. I don't think they're going to change anything now, considering how busted he is. They're probably just going to bring a more broken champion in the next update, or some bosses that specifically counter him. But we'll see. I might be wrong on that. Thank you guys all, though, so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.